Okay, so let's start with the next question. What are the different types of severity you can assign to a bug? And also, before starting this video, let me tell you this is the third part of this video session. And if you are interested in watching the first part and second part, you can go in this video description and you can click on the link part for part 1 and part 2. So, this is our part 3, and let's start with this video. What are the different types of severity you can assign to a bug? So it varies depend on the size and structure of the software development team, and typically a bug can be assigned with the following type of severities and going from low to high. So for a low level, user interface bugs can come under low level and accessibility issues can come under low level. And then for medium, you can find leaky abstractions. That abstraction something like if the something that the code should not known to the end user. For example, end user don't have doesn't have to know that how the some button is functioning, and if you click on the button and you are some errors is happening, error you can see some error is appearing on the window, and that error can be a code, and that is something like we can say a leaky abstraction, and user doesn't have to know about that code. So there's a leaky abstraction, so that come under medium. And then the software hangs while using a software. You just hang down and you can't move your mouse, or you are not able to click on anything. And basically not a mouse, the mouse will not hang, but the application, whenever you are clicking on anything, it's just not happening anything, and you're not able to click on anyone, and you are just stuck, and that's the software hanging, and that comes under medium. User unable to perform a specific action. For example, you want to sign out, or you want to sign in, or you want to just click on some button to perform some action. You want to make the payment, or you want to anything, and you want to uh, perform a specific action and you're not able to do that. That can come under medium. And some boundary conditions, so those all come under medium. So basically what come under high, I just told you that non-functionality, functionality all come under medium. So what's the high? So basically if you are using an application and it crashes, that's the highest priority bug. So that you can write down for high or highest. And business logic or calculation errors, if you're doing some payment or you are using an e-commerce website, and that's when during the payment it's showing some logically wrong calculations, so that comes under high priority bug, right? So any user action that causes the software to crash, for example, you just clicked on some button and then you perform something, and then again you clicked on that button, then it may causes you crashing the software. So that's the high priority bug, that some doing by performing some actions the software crashes. Exposing extensive user data, security problems, and loss of data, that all come under high priority bug. So I hope you come to know about the severity you can assign for a bug. So now I'm going to tell you some more interesting questions that may come under freshers but also for the experienced person. So don't think that these questions are only for freshers. So let's start. What is black box testing? So in black box testing, the tester views the software as black box, where he doesn't know the internal structure and behavior, and there's only concern in the input provided to the system and generated the output. So black box testing verifies the program behavior against a specific requirement. So before going further, I just want to show you the image that the black box testing is just like you're giving the input and you're getting an output. That's all. You don't know how what's inside this yellow cube. You don't know. You're just giving the input and getting the output. So during black box testing, the test conditions are created based upon the software functionality but are unaware of how the software works internally. So the software is tested from the end user perspective and give a broader picture of the whole system. Given that the users are only concerned with whether the software works according to their needs and don't care how it works, black box testing helps software tester test the software usability and anticipate how the customer will use the product. So, what is white box testing? I just put these both questions together so that you come to know about the difference between them. So, whether you are giving an input and getting an output, you have the knowledge of this between box where you have written the code and you have the knowledge of this code. So, white box testing is an alternate strategy to black box testing in which a tester views the system as a transparent box. They are allowed to observe the internal implementation of the system, which guides the test. Typically, the software development performs the white box testing during the development phase. So, in white box testing, we assume that the software has some programming knowledge. They try to each possible branch a program could have to run a system, knowing what's inside the box, that is, taking a look at the source code and implementing details, it is possible to test the system more thoroughly. Okay, so next question is also important, which is manual testing and automation testing difference. So in manual testing, a human tester tests the software by manually running the test cases and observing and comparing the actual expected outputs. Whereas in automation testing, a tester or a program use scripts and tools that execute the software and compare the actual versus expected. So automation also, for automation I will be using Selenium by using Java, and that can be a big course for the upcoming videos. So right now we are just talking about the basic difference between manual and automation testing. Manual testing is not reproducible and repeatable. And whereas automation testing is a programmed automated testing and it is constantly reproducible and repeatable, it can be executed as many as times as the tester wants. For new feature, a tester can quickly test the feature manually without much configuration and setup. For manual testing, you won't need anything. You just want to, if you want to check that the sign up button is working fine or not, you just have to enter the details and click on the sign up button, then the result will be to you. For automation, you set up the automated testing. There is an initial investment required to write the test case. First, you have to write down all the test cases, and then you have to prepare the environment to run those tests. So that's just a lengthy process. And basically, automation testing is used for the repetitive process. So that's the main difference. Manual testing is useful for finding bugs in the user interface or accessibility issue, and whereas automated testing is more suitable for catching bugs that a human tester would miss, such as programming bugs, business, or logic errors. Manual testing is prone to human errors as and is slow, whereas automation testing, as there is no human participation involved other than writing tests, automation testing is more reliable, it is much faster and than the manual testing. So that's the main difference between the manual and automation testing. But that's not the only difference. We may come to know the more differences between manual and automation testing, which we will be covering in the next upcoming videos. What is alpha testing? Before you ship the software to the customer, the internal testing team performs alpha testing. Alpha testing is a part of the user acceptance testing. Its goal is to identify bugs before the customer starts using the software. Then, what is beta testing? Once you ship the software to the customer after alpha setting, the software actually performs the beta testing in a real production environment. It's one of the final components of the user acceptance testing. Beta testing is helpful to get feedback and real people using the software in real environment. What is exploratory testing? Exploratory testing, by their name only, you explore the whole application as you want to explore. So imagine a tourist in a foreign country. There are two ways in which he can explore the city: follow the map, occasionally find a place where they should visit, explain randomly, following the streets as they lead them in a new place. So with the first approach, the tourist follows a predefined plan and execute it. Through the way various visit various spots, they might miss out the hidden, more exciting places in the city. With the second approach, the tourist wanders around the city and might encounter strange and exhausting places that the interested would have missed. So that's why exploratory testing is also important, where you don't follow any path, you just randomly check all the buttons, or you check all the menus list and everything in the application. So both approaches have their pros and cons. A tester is similar to a tourist, where they have testing software. They can follow a strict set of test cases and test the software according to them, or with the provided input and outputs, and or they can explore the software. When a software doesn't use the test scripts or the predefined test plans and randomly tests the software, it is called exploratory testing. So as the name suggests, the tester is exploring the software to the as the end user would do. So it performs a black box testing, and he doesn't know what's the code behind that, and just explore whole the process. So in exploratory testing, the tester interacts with the software in whatever manner they want to and follow the software instructions to navigate various paths and functionalities. They don't have to strict plan at hand. And exploratory testing primarily focuses on behavioral testing, that how it's behaving. It's effective for getting familiar with a new software feature. So whenever you just open a new application or a software, whatever you do, basically you check what are the functions of whole the application and how it behaves, how it look and feels, and all the things you think first. Though it seems random, exploratory testing and powerful, and it is experimental and skill tester hands, as it performed with a preconceived notation of the software should have and what should didn't have. It allows greater flexibility to the tester to discover hidden paths and problems along those paths. So that's the basic meaning of exploratory testing. So what is end-to-end testing? See, end to end testing is a process of testing a software system from start to finish. The tester tests the software just like an end user would do. For example, to test a desktop software, the tester would install the software as the user would open it, use it as intended, and verify the behavior, same as a web application. So there is an important difference between end to end testing versus other forms of testing that are more isolated, such as unit testing. So in end to end testing, the software is tested along with all its dependencies and integrations, such as database, networks, file system, and other external services. What is static software testing? So, static software testing, in which you test the software without actually executing it. So, it involves during code walkthroughs, code reviews, peer reviews, or using sophisticated tools such as SLIM, StyleCoop to perform static analysis of the source code. Static testing is typically performed during the software development. So here is a diagram of the static software testing. So what is dynamic software testing? Basically, I have wrote all the things together, that alpha, beta, and static, dynamic, QA, QC, so that you can come to know the difference between them. So what is dynamic testing is, in contrast to static testing, dynamic software testing tests the software where it's executing. Then it's executing the time they are executing it. The tester runs the software in the test environment and goes through all the steps involved, entering the input and verifying the actual output with expected results. Okay, so we will talk about the next questions in the next video. So bye bye.